Kimora Simmons' downfall is hard to watch. When people talk about powerful women in business and fashion, the name Kimora Simmons often comes up. For years, she represented confidence, luxury, and control. She built an image of strength and independence. But recently, whispers of legal trouble and financial pressure have started to grow louder. Reports of lawsuits, contract disputes, and money challenges began circulating quietly at first. Then, suddenly, they were everywhere. What makes this story difficult to watch is not just the legal issues, it is the contrast. How does someone who once stood at the top of the fashion world find herself fighting court battles and facing financial strain? Was it bad decisions? Was it business betrayal? Or was it simply the pressure of maintaining an empire in a changing world? To understand the present situation, Kimora's journey started in the modeling world. At a young age, she stepped into international fashion spaces and quickly built a strong presence. She was not just another model. She had personality, confidence, and ambition. Over time, she transitioned from modeling into business. That move changed everything. Instead of only representing brands, she decided to build her own. She entered the fashion industry as an entrepreneur and worked hard to position herself as a business leader. Her brand focused on bold style, confidence, and luxury street fashion. It connected strongly with young women who wanted to feel powerful and stylish at the same time. As the brand grew, so did her reputation. She expanded into different markets, secured partnerships, and appeared at major events. Interviews often described her as disciplined and sharp in business. She spoke openly about independence and financial control. From the outside, it looked like she had mastered both creativity and business strategy. Her lifestyle reflected her success. Luxury homes, high-profile appearances, and exclusive connections became part of her public image. Everything suggested stability and growth, but sometimes growth happens so fast that cracks begin to form quietly underneath the surface. The first signs were small and easy to ignore. A product launch was delayed without clear explanation. A rumored collaboration never fully materialized. Industry insiders began to mention internal restructuring within her company. At first, these changes seemed normal. Businesses adjust all the time, but then reports surfaced about disagreements between her and certain business partners. There were claims of contract misunderstandings and disputes over financial management. Former associates allegedly questioned how certain funds were allocated within the company. Nothing dramatic was proven, but the tone of the conversation started to shift. Employees were said to be leaving quietly. Some investors reportedly became cautious. Still, Kimora remained publicly calm. She did not address the rumors directly. She continued attending events and presenting confidence. However, silence in the business world can sometimes create more questions than answers. Behind the scenes, pressure appeared to be building. The situation became more serious when a civil lawsuit was reportedly filed by a former business partner. The lawsuit allegedly claimed mismanagement of shared investments and breach of agreement. According to fictional reports within this narrative, the partner argued that certain financial decisions were made without proper authorization. Legal documents began circulating among media outlets. Headlines used strong words like financial dispute and contract violation. Even though these were allegations and not final judgments, public perception started to shift. Court cases are rarely simple. They take time, money, and emotional energy. Lawyers on both sides prepared statements. Negotiations were rumored to be ongoing. The legal battle was not explosive, but it was steady and draining. As the case continued, other smaller claims reportedly surfaced. A supplier claimed delayed payments. A minor investor raised concerns about transparency. None of these issues alone would destroy an empire, but together they created an image of instability. Reputation in business is everything. Once doubt enters the conversation, rebuilding trust becomes difficult. Part 5: Financial strain. With legal costs increasing, financial pressure naturally followed. Lawsuits require expensive legal teams. At the same time, negative headlines can slow down revenue. Customers become cautious. Partners hesitate before signing new deals. There were rumors that some company assets were being reviewed or reorganized. Expansion plans reportedly paused. A few luxury properties were speculated to be leveraged to manage cash flow. While there was no confirmed financial collapse, the pressure was visible. Critics began questioning whether the brand had expanded too quickly in previous years. Some argued that rapid growth without stable structure can create long-term problems. Others believed she may have trusted the wrong people in key positions. Maintaining a luxury image during financial strain is emotionally exhausting. When the public expects perfection, showing struggle feels risky. But pretending everything is fine can also create distance from reality. As the legal pressure continued to grow, the financial side of the situation became harder to ignore. Legal battles are not just stressful, they are expensive. Every court appearance, every document review, every hour spent with attorneys adds up quickly. Even for someone with years of business success, ongoing legal costs can slowly drain resources. At the same time, negative headlines began affecting the brand's performance. In business, confidence is everything. When customers see words like lawsuit or financial dispute, even if nothing has been proven, doubt begins to grow. Some retail partners reportedly became cautious about placing large orders. A few long-term collaborators paused new projects, choosing to wait and see how the situation would unfold. Revenue, according to fictional reports within this narrative, began to slow. Not dramatically at first, but enough to create concern inside the company. Monthly projections were adjusted, marketing budgets were reduced, expansion plans that once looked exciting were quietly placed on hold. There were also whispers that certain assets were being reviewed to improve cash flow. This did not mean collapse, it meant restructuring. In business, when money becomes tight, leaders must decide what to protect and what to let go. Some luxury properties were rumored to be refinanced. Some investments were reportedly liquidated to maintain stability. These moves were strategic, but they signaled pressure. Maintaining a high-profile lifestyle during financial uncertainty can create its own tension. The public image still showed elegance and control, but behind closed doors, financial teams were likely reviewing numbers more carefully than ever before. Payroll must be met. Suppliers must be paid. Legal invoices must be cleared. These responsibilities do not pause just because the media is watching. Another challenge was investor confidence. Investors do not like uncertainty. Even if a company is fundamentally strong, public legal disputes can create fear. A few minor stakeholders were rumored to have reduced their involvement. This did not destroy the company, but it added another layer of strain. Critics began questioning whether rapid expansion in previous years had stretched the company too thin. Growth is exciting, but fast growth requires strong structure. If systems are not tight, small weaknesses can turn into larger problems under pressure. Some analysts suggested that the brand may have expanded into too many markets at once, without fully stabilizing its foundation. But financial strain is not always about mismanagement. Sometimes it is about timing. The market changes. Consumer habits shift. Economic conditions become unpredictable. Even experienced entrepreneurs can face seasons where profits tighten and risks increase. What made this period difficult was not just the numbers, it was the emotional weight attached to them. When you build something from the ground up, every financial challenge feels personal. It is not just business, it is reputation, identity, and pride. Instead of reacting publicly to every rumor, Kimora reportedly chose to focus inward. Internal audits were strengthened. Financial oversight became stricter. Departments were evaluated for efficiency. These are not dramatic actions, but they are serious ones. They show awareness. The truth is, financial pressure does not always look like disaster. Sometimes it looks like late-night meetings, hard conversations, and uncomfortable decisions. It looks like choosing stability over image. It looks like scaling back quietly instead of pretending everything is perfect. And perhaps that is what made this chapter so difficult to watch. Not because it was chaotic, but because it was controlled, slow, heavy, real. Because when an empire feels pressure, it does not fall in one loud moment. It tightens, it adjusts. Legal and financial stress does not stay in the office. It follows you home. Sources close to her suggested she had become more private. Public appearances became limited. Social media posts appeared more controlled and less frequent. Close friends reportedly stepped back. possibly to avoid being connected to controversy. In difficult times, people often reveal their true loyalty. Business challenges can test personal relationships. Fighting legal battles requires mental strength. Long meetings with lawyers, reviewing documents, planning strategy. It becomes a daily routine. For someone who once focused on creativity and expansion, this shift can feel heavy. Still, she did not publicly break down. She maintained composure. That quiet strength became part of the story too. Over time, the public narrative changed. She was once described as an unstoppable mogul. Now some referred to her as a struggling entrepreneur. The shift was subtle but noticeable. Online discussions debated what went wrong. Was it poor financial oversight? Was it aggressive expansion? Or was it simply the reality of running a business in an unstable economy? The truth is rarely simple. Success stories are celebrated loudly, but when difficulties appear, support becomes quieter. Many entrepreneurs face legal and financial battles. The difference is that not everyone faces them under public scrutiny. The situation became a reminder that business empires are fragile. They depend on trust, structure, and careful management. One weak area can affect everything else. Instead of responding emotionally, Kimora reportedly chose strategy. Negotiations for settlement began quietly. Insiders suggested she was restructuring her company to reduce risk. Expansion plans were replaced with stabilization efforts. Instead of chasing growth, the focus shifted to protection. In a brief public statement during this period, she mentioned that every business faces seasons. She did not deny challenges. She did not blame anyone directly. She acknowledged learning and adapting. That response changed the tone of the story. Because maybe this is not a downfall in the dramatic sense. Maybe it is a correction. Many powerful figures experience moments when they must rebuild instead of expand. The most powerful part of this story is not the lawsuits. It is the silence between headlines, the quiet meetings, the private decisions, the acceptance that sometimes success must pause before it can continue. Downfall is rarely one single event. It is a series of small cracks that go unnoticed until pressure exposes them. But rebuilding also starts quietly. And perhaps what makes this situation hard to watch is not failure, it is transformation happening in real time. The empire may look different tomorrow, smaller, more careful, more structured. But sometimes survival is stronger than expansion. And sometimes the strongest move a business leader can make is not fighting for image, but fighting for stability.